You had me scared there for a minute, Janet,
Why's that?
because I thought, oh, I'm going to be early for once.
Well, I just had George on the other end going over what he needs to do for the change of agenda.
Hi, Steve, Rob.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff, you built a snowman yet outside?
No, but I did a lot of shoveling.
Boy, there's a lot. We're at the top of the hill. I'm not sure how much you got in Farmington, but we measured 14.5 inches early this morning. I did about 7:45.
Yeah, we got about 14 or 15.
Yeah. Surprising. I wasn't expecting that much. I thought it'd be about 5 or 6 inches, so it was more than double what I thought. But hi, George.
George.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hello, George.
Hi.
I will tell you it was 60 degrees in Denver yesterday, even 48 in my house. Although we need the snow, so I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, that almost seems counterintuitive. Our son and daughter-in-law out west had a beautiful day today, but they're expecting some snow heading into the weekend here. So
Yeah, they're getting slammed down there. We just can't seem to catch any snow where we are, but. Todd, it looks like you're on twice, so maybe you can do one of those.
I've always wanted to clone myself so I could get more work done. Right now I need to.
Hey, George, that was a good article today. Thanks. I was trying to say that it was good news for us. If you looked at the numbers, it was a good article for us.
It was, and I just thought that hopefully the board was able to take a quick look at it, because I think it just gives a perspective that we wouldn't have normally, to have that national perspective of where things are at.
Yeah.
So George, I see it is 4:30, and I will hand this off to you. I know you have a point of order with regard to the agenda, and let you take it away. So Chairman George, go right ahead for the Education Committee meeting.
Thank you, Chairman Martin. So I'd like to open the Education and Planning Committee, February 3rd, 2021. It's 4:30 p.m. on the nose. And at the start, I do need to call for a motion to amend the Education and Planning Committee agenda by adding the following as a first read under resolutions portion of the meeting. And that is specifically for the recording lectures and other classroom activities. And I'd ask for a motion to make that amendment.
George, I move that we make the amendment.
Joan,
This is
thank
Joan.
you.
I second.
Santa, thank you very much for the second.
I'll second it. Okay.
And we have Jeff as a third. Thank you. So to start our order of business, review of the committee meeting minutes from last month. Are there any changes, additions, edits, comments? Hearing none, we'll accept those minutes. And Dr. Arbaitis, we go right into your enrollment report.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to share the comparison report, the one-week comparison report from January 22nd to this past Friday, January 29th. You'll see that we made substantial gains on closing the enrollment decrease. As it stands right now, our overall headcount enrollment is down 8.5%, with FTEs being down 9.7%. We continue to enroll students through the first Friday of the semester. And these students need to be eligible, meaning they have submitted a FAFSA and have their aid in place, they're cash payers, or they're signing up for a payment plan. My staff have reported to me that it has been a very busy week. So I anticipate that we will see a further improvement in the decline of 8.5%. Also like to share with you the subpopulations and by location, and I've highlighted those areas that have contributed to the improved enrollment picture. So full-time new students is up 12.7%. Part-time students, transfer, continuing, and returning are up. And then, of course, we have FLCC Online and SUNY Online, which has significantly contributed to helping us maintain our enrollment and respond to the decline. So I'll stop and see if you have any questions. And I have one other thing I want to share with you quickly, and that's a poll of SUNY Community College enrollment as of January 11th. Any questions?
Questions for Dr. Urbitis?
All right, let me just quickly show. The SUNY Community College Directors of Admissions meet on a regular basis. And a poll was taken requesting that the 30 community colleges share enrollment as of January 11th. Now, granted, this is dated information at this point. I'm hoping that we receive an updated survey response as of the first Friday of the semester or the Friday prior to the start of the spring term. There's a meeting on Monday, and that request is going to be made. So of the 30, 15 schools responded. We were one of them. And quickly, you can see what they were reporting in terms of the percent increase or decrease for first-time applicants. Same for transfer applicants, first-time registrants, and then transfer registrants. And then they also were asking for, in the last column, what fall applications look like for first-time apps. So 73% of the schools experienced a decrease in first-time applicants. 53% experienced a decrease in transfer applicants. 47% experienced a decrease in first-time registrants, and 60% experienced a decrease in transfer registrants. In terms of fall first-time applicants, 80% have experienced a decrease in applications as of January 11th. So this aligns well with the article, the link that George provided you all today about the national picture related to community college enrollment. And I just wanted to give you a bigger picture of what it looks like within SUNY. And frankly, I think we're holding our own again against the wave, so to speak. And I hope to have improved news for you at the March meeting.
Any other questions for Dr. Urbitis or comments? Dr. Urbitis, you usually do pull it out at the very end, so forward to the next report. Thank you. Dr. Kaiser, would you care to talk about retention?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm sharing my screen in terms of my retention update. Today, I'm going to be talking about our academic standings. This in presenter mode. There we go. Today, I'm going to be talking about our academic standings, our probation and continuing probation students, how that's connected to our intervention and academic recovery plan that was piloted in the fall, and that we are in full mode for spring semester. Typically, AVP Sarah Whiffen provides the academic standing numbers, but I wanted to do that this evening because it's really connected to our retention efforts, specifically around our academic recovery plan. So, as you know, every semester, at the end of every semester, our students are evaluated based on their academic progress. It's a formula based on their GPA and attempted credits. This is an unusual term because we did not run academic standings at the end of spring 2020, so after the first semester that COVID hit. We are very, very much in line with our peers. As far as I know, I don't think any community colleges ran academic standards. I certainly could be wrong at that, but most did not run their academic standards. So this is the first time we're running our academic standards since last fall at this time. So I'm going to go through these numbers from left to right. The average here is typically the average, and we're pulling a 5-year average from 2015 to 2019. So this year, out of the students who are evaluated, who are either on probation last year at this time, so fall 19 moving into fall 20, or they weren't meeting current progress in terms of academic progress, in terms of their GPA and attempted credits, we have 49 students who returned to good standing, which is good. The average is 62, but given the unusual situation we're in, I think that's a decent number, what I might expect. 56 were dismissed, and they will be eligible to return in spring 2022. On average, we have 117 students who were dismissed after fall semester. My thinking on this, that if you persisted for the past year over this very tough COVID environment, a quick pivot to online, you're committed to your education. And I think that's reflected in the students who were, fewer students who were dismissed. Students who are continuing on probation, we have 83 students who are continuing on probation. That means they were on probation last fall 2019. And when we last ran standings, and they will be on probation again this year. In terms of new students on probation, we have a large portion of new students on probation. I am worried about this number. We have 608 students who are newly on probation because they weren't meeting adequate standards for academic progress. Typically, this number on average was 450. Another, I'd say, metric to note is that 73 completely withdrew. This means that they withdrew entirely from the institution, which is actually a good thing. They're taking an action on behalf of their education, but it is a higher number than what we usually see. On average, it was 43. Now this slide, I'm digging a little bit deeper in probation and continuing students. The red number.
I have a question. This is
sure.
Santa. Are we waiting for questions till the end?
I was going to wait until we're done with the first few slides. But Santa, if you have a question now, please go for it.
The 608 new probation, could that be because these are new students who normally may not have gone to college if it weren't for COVID? And maybe they're just not prepared, or I don't know.
It could be. Santa, I'm not even going to venture to guess on that one, to be perfectly honest. I think we've seen students, rather than that population of students that you're suggesting, I think what we are seeing is students who normally might have went to a four-year institution, but because of COVID, they want to stay closer to home and spend less money. So I think actually those students probably would be college ready. I'm not quite sure we're seeing students during COVID who otherwise wouldn't go to college, but have decided to because of COVID. I haven't seen that number or that sort of idea before, but it certainly could be there. There's a lot of unknowns in this environment.
All right, thank you.
This is slightly different from the PowerPoint that you received. The numbers in red are newly added numbers. I didn't have those numbers. Again, we've started the semester about a week late. Normally, Sarah would be providing this information to you at the February board meeting, but because our first day of school was the first day of February, I had to wait to update this slide. So those students, I'm going to start with the students who were 608 of the new probationary students. 216 had already registered before we ran standings. That's a pretty significant number. They were intending to continue with their education. As of yesterday, that's right, February 2nd, we had 275 students enrolled for spring semester who are on academic probation. That's a 45%. So that's a rather strong number in terms of students who are returning and have already registered and taken that action. I also want to pull out some extra numbers. We follow two cohorts because they have different sets of supports, the EOP students and our SUNY online students. We have 20 EOP students and 13 had registered for spring semester. And out of the SUNY online students, we have 62 who are on probation and 24 who have registered for spring semester. Out of our continuing students over on this side of the screen, we had 26 who had already been on probation and registered or pre-registered. And as of yesterday, 49 had enrolled in spring semester. So this is 60%. Again, that's a higher number than I think we normally see. And I think it's these students who are persisting are really dedicated to their education. And then when we could see the sort of the same type of number here with our special cohorts, EOP and SUNY online. I'm going to jump to our ARP fall takeaways if no one has questions regarding the probationary students. The reason that they're connected is because our academic recovery plan was piloted in the fall, and now this semester it's a requirement. But I wanted to provide some information in terms of what we learned and some numbers moving forward in terms of this. So again, it's an academic recovery plan. It includes a meeting with our ASAP staff, it's a reflective meeting. They have to fill out a form thinking about reflecting on what went wrong, what could have they done, were they fully aware of the resources, what could they do in the future. There are a few interventions. They have access to a set of 40 videos that are designed to be interventions. It's part of our student lingo video series that's a third party that many institutions use. And we require them if they're in the fall, if they participated in this optional group, they were required to review 2 of these videos that aligned with what they thought might have went wrong. The numbers of this group here, we had 210 in this cohort for the fall, and 41 participated through the ARP. And out of those who participated, we have the numbers right here. In addition to the ARP meeting and the intervention and the student lingo, these are also students who we have tagged for special follow-up when we do our progress surveys or our midterm grades, so that their ACT staff, our professional staff, are contacting these students specifically. So you can see that we have 24% of our students move to academic standing. I think this reflects that this intervention is probably working. We have 27 students who are on academic probation formally now. Out of the cohort of 210 students, 12 of them, or 29%, were continuing students who were already on probation, and they will continue on probation. And 8 of the students were dismissed. I'll pause there and find out if there's any questions. And then I just want to sort of talk about what we're doing in terms of spring 2021. Now, all students who went in on academic probation, they are required to have an ARP plan. We may not hit all 100% of these students, but we think we're faring pretty well. They have an academic hold placed on their account, so they can't adjust their schedules until they meet with an advisor or they couldn't register. But we have a pretty intense communication plan that through communication, through email, text messaging, and personal phone calls, to outreach to these students to make sure that they meet with an advisor and they have an ARP session. Again, that ARP session is really designed to reflect on what they're doing, what they did, and to provide them a set of interventions that would address their plan. And I'm proud to say that as of February 3rd, so as of yesterday, and having a day on, almost a day and a half on snow day, we've already had 65 of 275 students who have participated in one of these ARP sessions. So we have 275 students who are registered and newly on probation, and out of them, we have 65 of those students who've taken the first steps on their ARP. These students, again, are tagged in our progress surveys and our midterm grade, so they get specific outreach from our academic advisors, and we're standing up another call campaign. We're looking for volunteers as well, and we'll be calling these students the 3rd, 7th, and 10th weeks of the term. So I'm going to pause there and find out if there are any questions.
Any questions for Jonathan?
I'm looking forward to talking.
Jonathan, if I can go ahead.
Sure.
Let me go ahead and ask one. If I always have a question. So, and this may get into Dr. Orloff, but do you foresee in the future that there will be any breakdown that show demographics, for example, underserved communities, and economic status, things of that nature, that we can compare against this and see if there's a pattern? I imagine it would take years to get that kind of data, but
sure. You were going a little bit, your voice was going in and out.
sorry.
Freshman, so I couldn't fully hear. I think you asked if there are maybe special demographics that.
Right. I do foresee in the future that there will be, we'll be able to look at this by those demographics. For example, are we higher among 25 and up year old women that are low income?
Yes, I think one of the things we'll see after we get better at collecting this information and we're a little bit more mature in this process, it's the first semester, we'll probably look at it in terms of credit attainment. What are first semester students? What do we retain them at a higher rate than others? What about students who are very, they have 45 accumulated credits and they're only one semester away? What could we do to provide 100% as much supports as possible to get them across the finish line. I absolutely think that in terms of different diversity demographics, in terms of race, age, non-traditional students, we'll be able to dig a little deeper. I'm particularly interested after we have a mature program, how our faculty and their academic advisors within their cohorts, academic cohorts, could reach out to these, because our faculty spend so much time with these students. I can imagine that once they're very familiar with this work and the academic recovery plan and the support videos like Student Lingo, we'll be using them more. So for instance, this semester, we have our first year experience course. We are setting up a series of conversations through our Center for Teaching and Learning around first year experience, and we're connecting it to some of these interventions. So faculty are becoming more adept of and more aware of these interventions. So I think the answer is yes, but I think it's so new, we're just not quite there to do that deeper dive in slicing and dicing the data that way.
Thank you. Yeah, it was hypothetical for the future. Chairman Martin has a question.
Yes, Dr. Kaiser, I'm curious about the calling effort in terms of how the students have received that and how they think it has gone with regard to the reach out. Have you been able to capture any of that feedback and or data?
It's all over the board. We've caught that in terms of our callers are sometimes noting this, and sometimes the callers are noting, hey, you've called me 3 times. Enough is enough. Don't call me anymore. I get it. You're concerned about me. And then there are other students who are, I am so impressed with this college that they reach out in a personal way to call me. So it's really all over the board. And I haven't figured out the quantitative sort of where we are in terms of that, but that's definitely something I'll look into. The other thing that we're doing with this calling campaign, we're trying to have sort of a 2-pronged effort. We're calling all the students who are at risk. That's a definite. But we have a smaller outreach campaign, call campaign, to students who are navigating our systems better than we would expect. And I want to find out what we're learning from them. I want to find out, hey, these are outliers on the other side of the spectrum. How have they taken advantage of the resources in a different way? What's special? What's different? And what can we learn from these students?
Yeah, thanks. And some of the experiences, I found first of all, the students think they did something wrong. So we gotta kind of get that out of the way right up front. I mean, why is a trustee calling me? I mean, oh my goodness gracious, And then we just try to have a conversation about everyday life. But by the end, it's generally quite informative and positive, and some are engaging and some are just busy, and based on when you catch them. But I think it's a very thoughtful approach, and I'm sure other colleges or organizations would ever do this, but it's certainly a bit unique to FLCC. So kudos.
Trustee Martin, I have to say that I'm not quite sure many colleges are doing this in this environment. We are going above and beyond. I really believe that to be true. Our systems and our people are often stretched, but yet we still have volunteers. Yet we still are making these phone calls. FLCC is a really special place. People really dig in their heels and go the extra mile when they need to. Thank you.
Any other questions for Jonathan?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Kaiser. Actually, if you want to just continue right on, we can go into the resolutions and granting a professional association administrative appointment for Nicole Sigworth.
Good evening again, everyone. And again, this is one of my favorite things to talk about, because we talk about the administrative appointment for our faculty and staff, in this case, our staff, who have just been doing a fabulous job. Nicole is on the line. I could see her icon. Nicole, why don't you turn on your screen for a moment, if you don't mind, and wave to everyone so everybody could see who you are. If you're able to do that. I don't want to put you on the spot. I just want to share that Nicole has done a tremendous job. She is our EOP Academic Support Outreach Specialist. I fully recommend her administrative appointment. Nicole takes some of the most at-risk students and makes them feel at home. And she does that every year. And in this year, she stood up an online EOP program, and that modeled for many other SUNY schools. It was truly amazing. When we first started this program, this is before I was here, I think it was just a 2 to 3 day program. And this past summer, it was 3 weeks of online interventions and supports for these students. It was a tremendous job. She takes her job so serious. Some of the things that her colleagues have said about her, Nicole takes the lead on ensuring that every summer EOP program goes off smoothly, from working with students to ensure they arrive on time and get home safely, helping to craft curriculum and evaluation. She has been instrumental in the evolution of this program. Another one of her colleagues said her communications are well informed by her lifelong commitment to empathy and understanding. And I've seen her work with these students firsthand, and I fully support that notion. So I fully support this administrative appointment for Nicole. Thank you. Nicole, give us a wave. I could see you now.
Congratulations, Nicole. Mr. Taylor, would you care to talk about an appointment for Fred Stringer?
Absolutely. Thank you, Chairman Cushman, and good evening, everyone. It's good to see you all. Fred, would you turn your video on, please, and wave for everyone? There he is. There he is. Fred, I'm here tonight to recommend Fred Stringer for his administrative appointment. Fred works as the coordinator of administrative computing, and he handles systems administration, programming, and other duties that all revolve around our colleague student information system. Fred's efforts have been instrumental in keeping our critical data needs handled. And one thing I can say about his job is that it is not boring. He is always busy with new data needs. The phrase periods of sheer terror come to mind, and Fred has faced many of those periods and taken them on in stride. Fred's recent efforts in many projects have been instrumental and critical to student success and will serve FLCC now and for many years to come. Examples are he's worked with HR payroll just recently to put in our very first Aleutian colleague employee self-service module. He worked with data integration for SUNY Online, and as many of you know, there are lots of starts and stops there. A real trick because we're a colleague school. He's worked with integration for Astra scheduling analytics, for the pyramid system, for data governance, and much, much more. I have to say, in all of my working years, I've never met an individual that's more dedicated to their job. Oftentimes, Fred will work beyond normal work hours to meet a deadline, and he has lots of those he has to meet. Why? It's simple, because he cares. And it is indeed my pleasure to recommend Fred Stringer for his administrative appointment. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
It was quite a testimonial. Thank you, Fred, for doing that. I feel your pain for what you do. And finally, Dr. Urbitis, an appointment for Sean Marin.
Yes, I do. And Sean has joined us via phone. So you will not be seeing him, but he is with us. And it is my pleasure to recommend Sean Marin receive an administrative appointment. Sean began his professional career at the college as an admissions counselor. He served as a recruiter in FLCC's service area and played a role in establishing and expanding our presence in the New York City market as well as coordinating student athlete recruitment in collaboration with the Director of Athletics. In his current role as Assistant Director of Athletics, he has primary responsibility for fostering student athletes' academic engagement with the college, including coordinating student athlete recruitment and tracking conversion, providing oversight to the Student Athlete Advisory Board, tracking student athlete academic progress and facilitating academic interventions in collaboration with student services offices, coordinating the athletic faculty fellows program to strengthen connections among student athletes, faculty, and coaching staff, and serving as the athletic department liaison to the student intervention team. Outside his full-time responsibilities, Sean serves as the head coach of the men's baseball team and was recently reappointed as the vice president of the NJCAA Region 3 Baseball Coaches Association. Last but certainly not least, Sean has played a crucial role throughout the past year in managing the athletic department's return to play plan as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and I am very grateful for his efforts in this realm. So as I said, I am pleased to recommend Sean receive his administrative appointment, and I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, and thank you, Sean. So final item in our resolutions is Dr. Kaiser, if you could care to discuss a little bit about the pre-read on recording lectures and other classroom activities.
Absolutely. On January 27th, our Academic Senate voted to endorse a lecture recording policy. I think you have that for review. This is your first read of it. The policy prohibits the unauthorized recording of classroom lectures and activities. This has become much more timely and important as we have pivoted to remote instruction during COVID. It's the result of what you might imagine. A student recorded a video and then used that video of a class in an inappropriate way, not horrible, but insensitive on social media. And what we thought that the best way to handle this was to have a policy right up front that prohibits this unless you have authorization, so prohibits recording without authorization. We also created a statement for syllabi or a course outline so students understand this as part of their syllabus. And I just want to note that there is a related policy that isn't here, but we have an amnesty policy. And this allows students to record something if they think something is askew. If they think that if there's a concern about something that's happening inappropriate, they can record this policy and submit that to the appropriate unit or office. And there would be no harm to that student for recording it because it was done with the idea that they are forwarding a concern to the appropriate people. This is your first read, so I don't know if we need to take questions on it now. I should give you some time to read it, and then we'll talk more about it at the next meeting.
Are there any questions for Dr. Kaiser? Donna?
A quick one, Jonathan. Are there any means of censure? I didn't recall from my first read, quickly glancing through, if there were consequences for someone who disobeyed the policy.
Yes, and I do not recall that. They would go through the disciplinary process as already outlined, it looks like.
Okay.
So there's nothing specific to this policy in terms of censure. It doesn't create a new type of censure.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Dr. Kaiser on recording lectures and other classroom activities? We'll review this on our next meeting. Thank you, Dr. Kaiser.
Great, thank you.
We have a strategic thought presentation on workforce and career solutions I'm looking forward to. Todd Sloan, it's great to have you back and get some updates on how we're working with a significant population at the college.
Thank you. Can you all hear me okay? All right, I got a thumbs up, so that must mean yes. I'm going to share my screen. What I'm going to share with you are some of the slides that you should have received before the meeting. So really want to go over what we're looking at here is our academic year that just recently closed. So this is the year that was initially impacted, the latter part of the year that was impacted by COVID. And I'm just going to focus on our performance measures that we measure year to year and look at how COVID rather impacted those. And how we tried to mitigate that, and we were actually quite successful. I mean, it was still obviously a challenge. It's kind of an unheard of event. However, our team was pretty resilient in the way they managed it. So I'm going to just go over those baseline numbers and talk about a couple things that we have on the horizon, bright spots from the academic year I'm reporting on, and then how that is positioning us going forward in the latter part of COVID here, and then after we have this amazing magical thing that's called herd immunity. I hope it's not a myth. I hope it's really going to happen. My team is waiting until we have this thing called herd immunity. So looking at some of our key measures here, sessions run in the most recent academic year were down. That is not surprising. Primarily, that has to do with the manufacturing sector, which is a significant sector for us. And many locations just weren't able to, they canceled or didn't run training because they were running on very minimal crews, and they didn't have the ability to set those aside, to set people aside to do that training, rather. We saw that also in terms of the number of unique participants, and we literally measure that. Those are unduplicated numbers if you're familiar with the term, and that was down as well. Now, interestingly, our training hours were up significantly throughout COVID, and that was primarily for two reasons. We worked closely with Dr. Abatis' team, Jonathan's team, and with Deb Ortloff's team to do a marketing campaign that focused strictly on workforce online training. So that was, we saw a really big bump in the number of enrollments for that. And then the second reason that we had those hours increase is our manufacturing employers who were able to field training, since much of that training is grant funded, what we did is we increased the volume of training that we did for those who were able to continue with that. So that was totally my team's adaptability and flexibility in shifting on, it seemed like a weekly basis through the beginning of COVID. Another very nice measure that I'm pleased with, one of our goals for the last couple of years has been to increase our efficiency by improving our run rates, reducing the number of cancellations. And we saw a really good trend in that. I had to adjust for COVID here. So as you can see, some areas had some significant cancellations due to COVID. But if we adjust for that, our cancellation rates were down, our run rates were up in all of the areas that we run. These are really good as industry, as workforce development as a field or as an industry goes. Our run rates are really as good as anyone out there in the state. Biggest ouches in terms of this last year for COVID was, as I touched on, advanced manufacturing companies. Many of our customers were able to run and were able to be exempted from pausing during COVID, but as essential industries, they were only able to run minimal crews, so to speak, just enough to keep production running. So training really was paused or put on the back burner for them. That is actually still the case. We are hearing from our partners in manufacturing that, you know, they're probably going to think about some onboarding or even bringing some laid off people back later in the spring, early summer. So that is still, we're just not back at capacity there in terms of training. As I mentioned, we did shift partners and we did shift training. One of the strengths of our department and really of the college, we work very closely with Ryan McCabe's team in online learning. And we were able to convert a large number of our face-to-face trainings to hybrid training. And we did this quickly, and it helped us a lot. It helped us tremendously in healthcare, and it helped us a little bit in manufacturing. Not as much, because there are trainings in manufacturing that just have to be done face-to-face. But that was, I guess, a silver lining to the cloud of COVID, is we took it as an opportunity to accelerate our conversion to hybrid. A couple bright spots. Well, I touched on the fact that, you know, I couldn't be prouder of my team, to be honest with you. They are very hike up your bootstraps and very action-oriented group. Pretty much, and sometimes we would have month-to-month changes in what we could and couldn't run from a regulatory point of view, and they really adapted quickly. We also had some unexpected cash training that came in. We did a hybrid CNA preparation training for the SEIU 1199. That's one of the largest unions in New York State. That was through a local chapter in Long Island. Not only were we able to help them during the height of COVID, what we did is we helped them to take HHAs who had been laid off or out of work due to COVID, convert and be prepared to become temporary CNAs and work in the step-down facilities there that were overwhelmed. Because their ICUs were so beyond capacity, they set up many temporary step-down units, and CNAs were the folks who were the care providers in that situation. And then we also did some customized training for ITT Gould's pumps. That was strictly for incumbents who are already at the workplace, and they were able to do that under COVID because those folks were already cleared and were already there. And we did some computer training for advanced atomization technologies. So those were nice in light of what was happening with COVID. We are very well positioned for 2021. To be honest, I made a joke about herd immunity earlier, but we are kind of, I don't want to say waiting, but we have converted all of the healthcare programs that we had set out to convert to hybrid. Those are all completed. We've been running them throughout. Our advanced manufacturing programs as well that have been converted to hybrid. We have 2 new programs, both of which are ready for launch, and they will most likely run when we have SUNY guidance that will allow us to do that at a campus center, or New York State guidance that will allow us to do that at a manufacturing site. And we're not quite there yet. The latest we've heard reliably from some of our contacts in Washington is I'm going to just say the most reliable estimate I've had is we're looking probably at June for the possibility of enough immunizations to be easing some of the federal regs that could impact us. Let's see. I think I've hit everything here. I hope this is helpful. Just one other shout out I really want to do. We have been focusing on pursuing grants in our department very aggressively, and we've had a lot of support from Lewis's department. Without our grant director position has been open, but really we've been able to, with his support, take the lead and develop and take the initiative on some initial writings of grants with oversight from his department, and then also oversight from finance. And that's allowed us to pursue quite a number of grants. And we've been pretty successful. They haven't been, I'm not going to say large grants, some have been $10,000, $50,000, but we're seeing a good approval rate for that. So that's going to be a huge goal for us. Remember, our learners often aren't eligible for federal student aid. Now that we have a lot of offerings that we've developed, but we're not yet promoting those, our goal is going to be to pursue grants that will really focus on tuition assistance for those learners as soon as those learners can come to class. So that's what I've got, and I will open it up to questions, time permitting.
Questions for Todd?
This is Jeff. I have a couple. One is this information and the reports and information you're providing to us also being provided to the Economic Development Office in the county?
Yes, we provide them our annual information, and they're on our advisory boards as well.
Okay, and the only other thing I could think of is if you get an opportunity to make a similar presentation to the Planning and Research Committee of the Board of Supervisors, that would be not only a positive, but a good thing.
Forgive my naive question, but which Board of Supervisors would you suggest?
I'm sorry, Ontario County.
Okay.
That's where I'm focused, although it's probably as relevant to the other counties as well.
Thank you. That's an excellent suggestion. I do think I appreciate that. I appreciate that. We can always do more to make the public aware of what our department does out in the community. Thanks.
Yep.
Chairman Martin, do you have a question?
I do, and it's twofold, Todd. First of all, thanks for your presentation and thanks for your work. I'm curious if there are any maybe new or exampled opportunities that other community colleges are pursuing or really thriving on when it comes to this field and this sector of work. I recognize each geographic area is different, but I would also bet there's some similarities. And I'm curious amongst your peers if you've been able to glean anything from some of the others, at least within New York State, even upstate, that might be relevant and applied here locally.
Great question. Yeah, I have a weekly call with my counterparts at the state level. And just very briefly, a couple things we're seeing. Schenectady County Community College is doing some really excellent work in healthcare. And they have been really leading the way on focusing on getting healthcare training that becomes what's called related instruction for apprenticeship in New York State. So they're actually in the process of pursuing that right now, and it's very good news for us if those are approved. Of the 6 occupations they're pursuing, 4 of them we have curriculum for already. So while they're taking the lead, we'll be well positioned to become related instruction providers in our area for that. I guess that's the first one that comes to mind, and I won't take any more time than that in terms of answering your question. That's one that comes to mind. But really, we are kind of in the lead, especially in terms of hybrid and online in our department. I mean, there were workforce development offices at other community colleges that basically stopped functioning during COVID because they were so dependent on face-to-face learning. So, but there's some interesting things going on in healthcare that I'm keeping an eye on, and our team is positioned. Well, once those approvals go through, we'll be pursuing related instruction for that. We're currently a related instruction provider for 11 trades in advanced manufacturing. If these go through on healthcare, I imagine we could stand up 4 trainings probably within the end of the calendar year.
Okay, I guess I have one associated question. Thanks for that.
Sure.
I'm curious with regard to what I might define as the senior market. I've been reading with some interest the number of those individuals that might even be characterized as over 50, over 55, over 60, who are re-entering the workplace and looking for some of that skill training to supplement their existing income. It may not be full-time, but part-time. And I'm curious if that's at all a sector or a market in which we've had any traction with, or if we've considered approaching or even crafting, if you will, some targeted reach out, if you will.
There's a lot we don't know about that market in our 4 counties, to be honest with you. In fact, some of the work we're doing right now is to learn more about that segment of the market. When in my prior role in an urban area, we did a lot of work around that, both in terms of seniors wanting to return to work or have a portfolio type of career, but also in terms of mentoring. But to be honest with you, we don't know enough about who those people are and where they are to reach them yet. It is one of the segments we're looking at, along with veterans and a couple other segments that are unique in terms of diversity. I wish I had a better answer for you, but that's where we're at right now.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Trustee Martin, this is Jonathan.
Follow-up question.
I just wanted to, Trustee Martin, I just wanted to say that as part of our Bridges program, the Rural Intervention program, we discussed this market pretty extensively, and we're looking to use ASU as a model, as they have a pretty extensive senior program. So we even batted around names like an Encore program, but it's definitely on our radar screen. And I think it might be maybe not a primary project, but a secondary project that comes out of our rural innovations grant.
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan. That's precisely what spawned that. And if you're not familiar with that, you Google ASU's program. ASU has developed housing that is specifically designed to co-house seniors and more traditional age students on their campus. It's quite innovative.
Trustee Astles, do you have another question?
Well, I was just going to suggest, like a broken record somewhat, but one source that might have information on seniors trying to get back into the workforce would be the Office for the Aging of the respective counties. I mean, that's what they do, is serve seniors. So I would just suggest that start with Ontario, but contact the Office for the Aging and see what kind of information and data they have.
Thank you.
Other questions for Todd? And if I may, Todd, I have a couple of quick ones for you. Do you know the total number of people that you had in your program this year? Not FTE, but head count.
Head count, unique folks.
Yeah.
This last year was just under 2,000. Well, no, it was 1,700 and change.
That's a significant number to Trustee Assel's point before. Do we have a breakdown on which counties they come from?
I don't have it off the handy right now, but we have that data. Yeah, we have their.
Yeah, I see Dr. Orloff nodding.
Yeah, yes, we do.
So I think it's just I think, and Trustee Assels, you know better than I, but it seems like this is just a hidden population to our sponsor. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yes, and I think it's something that, unless people are working in the arena of providing and working with seniors, it's data and information that most people don't have and isn't readily available.
And this is Donna. I'd just like to add to George's point that most people don't understand that in addition to our FTE, we serve a substantial population for which we do not receive state funding, but it is a key community component. And I think Todd's numbers and Dr. Orloff's data could be put to very good use in that manner. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I welcome input from the board at any time on ways to share that information in addition to the suggestions you've made tonight. I think we could always do better again at singing our praises as a college. It's just a huge segment of the community we touch, but aren't always thought of.
Thank you. And I was also really heartened to hear about the being a relative technical instruction provider, RTI, for apprenticeship. Just FYI, the Apprenticeship Authorization Act is about to be renewed, and it's loaded with it's loaded with stuff. There's we see a significant. It's gonna be like a tsunami hitting the Department of Labor for sure. So you expect to see a lot more funds coming out of there. So keep an eye on it.
Thank you. Will do.
This is Santa Abraham. I do have a question. Do we ever target high school seniors for these programs?
We do. In fact, I see Carol smiling because right now, one of the big efforts we worked on, and I reported this to the board last time too, and we've had some good progress on, is integrating our workforce programs, which are sometimes called, and I'm putting this in air quotes, non-credit, right? But they're workforce programs, integrating those with our credit programs. And right now we're talking to a couple districts, one who's very interested in having us likely teach their seniors, possibly juniors and seniors. And this would be a workforce program they would take in their senior year. It would give them industry credentials, and it would give them related instruction for apprenticeship. However, it would also give them 12 credits of advanced standing in one of our associate's degrees. So that type of integration is a huge goal for us. It takes time to build, but yeah, that's what we're looking at. And that program could potentially go to any district, obviously, going forward. We're starting with a few in the fall. We're waiting for some final approvals, but that's what we're looking at. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Carol.
That's excellent. Thank you, Todd.
Yep.
If no other questions, it's 5:29. We'll take a motion to adjourn. And I see Jeff.
This is Joan. I'll move you adjourn.
All right, Joan second, and Santa with a second. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Appreciate that. Another good meeting. Thanks for the full board of information. We'll move to Finance and Facilities Committee and turn it over to Trustee Don Cass. Go right ahead, Don.
Try that
Go right
again.
ahead,
I'd
Don.
like
You're
to
off.
call to order the Finance and Facilities Committee meeting for February 3rd. Ask if there's any additions or corrections to our minutes. Okay, there being none, we'll start with Christine Leininger and Dr. Dupay.
Hi, everyone. Dan isn't able to join us tonight as he had another commitment, so I'll be doing the presentation. As you can see in your packet, we have our standard budget to across fiscal years between last year and this year. You'll notice that we continue to trend in the same path that we have in the past. The projections were not updated compared to prior meeting due to several outstanding circumstances. Currently getting clarification from Bonadeo with regards to fully utilizing our $1.4 million in CARES money. Plus, we've also received our second state aid payment from this after the packet was already submitted. And also we have the new stimulus packet that's come in. So the projections were, and the fluctuation and with spring enrollment. So the projections are the same as what you saw last time. You'll notice the fluctuations in income are around, what we've discussed with you in the past. trending with income coming in at different times from this year than last year. And that's the same with our expenses also. You will notice as we move into March in the future years, as cash flow becomes less of a focus with getting revenue coming on campus, you'll see that our expenses will start to tighten up and follow in a similar pattern to what we had in academic year 1920. That is our financial presentation. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Thank you.
Okay, we'll go right on the facilities update from Kathy Ahern.
Good evening, everybody. I have probably a short presentation as well, or an update. I'm going to talk about two things. One will be the nursing project, and we've talked about that, and it has gone through many stages of the design. Right now, we obtained 95% construction documents this week, and with the intent that FLCC and Ontario County will review those in detail, and we will get our comments back to the design team next week. After that, there will be we will release bid notice for publication on the 22nd of this month. We will have a pre-bid meeting, which will be a walkthrough on site on March 8th. The bids will be due on March 26th. We will then go through the review process and have a bid award recommendation April 5th. We will award the bid April 22nd, and the contractors will start on May 20th. So we are finally there, and we're pretty excited about it. The big day is when those bids come in. So March 29th is my magic big day. So keep your fingers crossed, please. I will say that 95% drawings do include the wellness center that we did talk about, and that's a renovation on the 3rd floor where marketing is to accommodate community standards, counseling, and student health, which is kind of a one-stop for the students. So we did get that incorporated into the project, which is great. And then once the construction starts on May 20th, we will get the first phase done. And we've talked about that before. That is renovating the existing space where the nursing suite is and the massage therapy suite is to accommodate the new nursing suite for fall of 2021. And then during the time from May and then even in next winter, we will work on the addition with the intent to be done in the middle of May 2022 for the fall of 2022 to have that extra space for the nursing as we've talked about before. Any questions about the nursing project? Okay, great. And then the other thing that Dr. Nye wanted me to share with you, which is kind of exciting, keeping fingers crossed, this is to get some electrical vehicle stations on campus, the charging stations. We worked on it in 2019, looking at using capital maintenance funds, which is a SUNY and our local sponsor, Ontario County, to fund some work. NYSERDA, which is the New York State Energy Research Development Authority, which you've heard about before, they often give monies associated with saving energy. They, at that time and even now, are giving $4,000 per station. So they give you a good rebate, but at the time we were doing it, we were tight with dollars, so we had a few stations. We were ready to sign off, and then COVID happened. So this is the opportunity for procrastination has worked this time, so yay for us. Tom Harvey and I met about 3 weeks ago, and Ontario County has been given the opportunity to work with ChargePoint, which is a consulting firm who are writing, there is a grant from New York State to help fund electrical vehicle stations. The funding, believe it or not, comes from, if everybody remembers, the Volkswagen problem. Remember when they had the catalytic converter they didn't tell everybody about? Well, those monies went to many different states. I don't know if all, but New York got some money, and New York decided to use that money to fund putting out electrical vehicle stations throughout New York. So we are under the Ontario County umbrella. So it is FLCC, other places in Ontario County, and CMAQ to be incorporated in that grant. And I believe Tom and team are going to be, I think it is due sometime this month, and then hopefully we hear in March and April of who gets what. Right now, based on our infrastructure, what we looked at in G lot, a minimal of 12 stations, could be more. A lot, which is our larger parking area, 10 to 12, and then up in D lot, 8 to 12. But the intent would be to bring in that infrastructure for those particular stations, but have enough infrastructure to grow that, because I think we're all feeling that that's the way of the future. So I will keep you informed when I get more information. That's what I have for this evening. Any questions?
Okay, Kathy,
Thank
you
you.
very much.
You're welcome.
And Christine, we have some resolutions.
Yes, hi. Okay, our first resolution that we want to discuss with you is a resolution to award the funds raised from the sale of our O building to our nursing project. Allocating those funds received to the nursing project will allow us the opportunity to double them with SUNY. So we ask that for your approval with that resolution. Our second resolution is with regards to our debt service agreement. This is a renewal for services provided that we would use for collecting our debts. Submitting to debts sorry about that, for our students for our third-party collection agency. And then the third one is in regards to IT and awarding the resolution. And if you have specific questions with regards to the IT resolution, I would defer to John Taylor. There are 3 resolutions for tonight.
Any questions?
So Christine, I just had one. The debt collection service, these are 2 firms, one in Buffalo, one in Rock Hill, South Carolina. We have used them before.
Yes, this is a renewal of services.
Renewal. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay, Christine, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you. There being nothing else, could I have a motion to adjourn?
Rich will move.
Thanks, Rich.
I'll second George.
Thank you, George. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Well, we're at a unique situation in that we have publicly indicated that our public meeting for the FLCC Board of Trustees is to begin at 6:45 p.m. Yes, look at those faces of yours. I see some furling of your eyebrows and so forth. So what that means is we're not able to begin the meeting prior to that, which means you have a full hour to prepare a gourmet dinner and to clean it up if you'd like. We will see everyone back here promptly just a couple minutes before 6:45 so that we can begin promptly at 6:45. My apologies from a scheduling standpoint, but we must abide by the rules that are set forth. So the meeting will begin at 6:45 p.m. Until then, ta-ta. Okay, folks, welcome back. Hope you got a chance to bite to eat, and we will open the Board of Trustees meeting of February 3rd, 2021, and call to order the meeting. Hope everyone is remaining healthy and you're enjoying this flurry of winter we're having. And I understand the words snow day were uttered this week, and I remember those being in our household two of the fabulous and magic words. When you heard the word snow day, it just set off a whole string of good thoughts and cheers, and sometimes at 6 a.m. in the morning. So I understand that was the case at the college this week. So welcome back. We're at the community public comment portion of our meeting, and the Board of Trustees values the input from members of our college community. We encourage your participation and ask that you please identify yourself when speaking and sharing your comments. We'll provide up to 5 minutes for each individual's comments. And for anyone that's calling in or using the phone option, remember *6 on the phone unmute you, and then *6 remute your phone. So it's kind of an on and off switch. But this is the public opportunity. Would anyone like to share their comments publicly now with the board? Anyone at all? Okay, I hear none nor see none, but welcome back. We have the consent agenda in front of us, as well as resolutions on the consent agenda. With the trustees' permission, we'll take them as a block. And please entertain a motion and a second. Please identify your name with the motion and a second as well. Please, a motion.
This is Jeff.
Thank you, Barb.
Jeff. I'll second.
Moved it. Jeff seconds that. Any questions or comments with regard to the block of consent items? Hearing, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Carried. Thank you. Old or new business? Janet or Rob, anything that we haven't already spoken about?
None here. Janet?
No, I have none.
Okay. Underneath chair's report, I'll just call to attention Dr. and I sent around the agenda for the upcoming retreat, and it is packed full, and certainly interactive, if you will. 5 hours we have set aside, including hearing from Dr. Sim with regard to a equity, inclusion, diversity exercise. Dr. Kaiser will talk to us about retention, and a thanks to Donna and to Santa, along with their committee, and Dr. Ortlaw for putting together the board development discussion and bringing the folks from MCC to us later this month in just a short 10 days or so. So I know a lot of work went into that, and any others that might have been involved, we're looking forward to the for the half-day retreat. And I appreciate all of your feedback that frankly helped construct this agenda. And you each had a piece of it, and it certainly reflects your wishes as well. So we'll look forward to a productive day there. Moving right on to Dr. Nye, I'll give you the opportunity for the president's report. Go right ahead.
Well, thank you, Trustee Martin. I wanted to reiterate your snow day comments. This campus is exceptionally beautiful, even in the wintertime with a lot of snow, and really looked pristine and beautiful once the sun came out today. It was nice to see what it looked like from the outside. I wanted to highlight a couple of things. We are going to begin a new search for a vice president for finance administration, and that'll start up soon. I wanted to highlight the 2 visits that I had because they're really interesting and promising to business. The first one on my report is from Analysis, and Supervisor Chair Marin asked that I go visit this business, and he met myself with 2 economic developers from the county. Mike Matakowski couldn't make it. We had a wonderful tour. Since then, we've had 1 meeting, and then we've had some more connections with the CEO. Very, very fascinating individual who's very much younger than most of us, and has been exceptionally successful in his business in Victor, and grown it from an educational, a manufacturer of educational equipment, scientific equipment, to creating markets for just about anything, and using his experience in data analytics to create markets. And it was fascinating being in the warehouse, and there are crates of peanut butter that somebody has made, and they came to him and said, can you help me sell this peanut butter? And he found a market for this peanut butter that this person sells, and it's highly successful. He buys all sorts of things that are used or garbage to others and recycles them. So he buys gypsum rocks that has been taken from destroyed buildings and sells them to schools for their science and geology programs. Absolutely fascinating. I told Jack Marin that during the visit that it was the most enjoyable time I'd had in the last 9 months, listening to this person and being in their warehouse and listening to what he can do. And I'm hoping we can bring him in for a retreat to see how he might be able to help us with data analytics in a way that's different from what we do. It was fascinating how much he was able to make comments about our own, not our Twitter page. Which one was it, Louis? Not Twitter.
Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, and his thoughts about it. It was very interesting. But we have Carol connected up with him for the Young Entrepreneurial Program. He has a son he'd like to be involved. He's linked up with Louis for scholarships, Jonathan for internships, and that he wants internships. And we're really interested in how he can plug us into key members of the blockchain technology in Rochester. To get something started. And when we talk about 21st century activities, we really need to get into those kind of things. So it was a wonderful visit. Hopefully it grows to great fruition. I don't know if any of folks who are on our first true visit with the individual have anything else that you got from that first visit. Did I say it well enough? Okay. Second one last week was to the new complex at IEC in Newark on the hill overlooking our Newark campus. Brand new building, brand new infrastructure, and they are. That's going to be a wonderful location once they get that done. And we have some really great opportunities for education. They're going to have over 600 employees in that building, and they're right down below us. Carol reached out to me the other day. One of the things that we're looking for, I would love to see us have the Arizona State Starbucks relationship. And so that, how do we create that? I was working and getting close to getting that accomplished with a company before COVID hit, so that we become the preferred education provider for a company. If we can get it going somewhere, we can get it going in other places. I think it's important because it creates a relationship. IEC had, over the past 2 years, hired 1,200 people and has retained 200. And so they need incentives to be able to keep folks. And I think us being a partner in education is an opportunity. It may be reaching for the stars, but I think we really need to do it. So good visit, and looking forward to seeing what's there. George, thank you so much for that connection for Bridges, rural poverty. It's going to do some great stuff. And you heard a little bit from Jonathan earlier, and left you a link for that. Carol's done a great job with Stephanie Carpentier. So we've got at least some food possibilities for about 4 hours a day for our students. Thank you. Really appreciate it. And that's about it. Steve, you talked about the retreat. Really looking forward to it. There may be some time adjustments. The exact times are not firmed up for a couple of folks, but it's right where they thought it would be, and looking forward to it. I think you'll enjoy meeting the new county administrator. He comes from Warren County and the eastern part of the state, is familiar with community colleges, and the county he had was a co-sponsor, his county, but not the primary sponsor, with Anne Arundel Community College. And really it's been enjoyable to start to get to know the new administrator. And I think we've got some great opportunity to work with them. They're interested, Rich. We talked about the jail and other opportunities, and we're going to start working that and see where we can go. And Jonathan working internships. I think it's going to be a great partnership. That's it. That's my report.
Good. Questions of Dr. Nye? I have one for you. How about CMAC? I realize it's February. It's snow. Wouldn't want to sit out there today, but in 3 or 4 short months, a typical season would open. And I'm just curious if there's anything new, or maybe it is too soon to talk about that. Just curious what your thoughts are, because I know you have a board seat there.
There will be some. They're planning on. It's still hopeful, but they're planning on a limited season with limited seating. They don't have any details yet, but in writing they put in a limited season with limited seating for some acts that are there, and some of them might be some pretty at least a couple near the end of the season might be some pretty famous acts. But they're working really hard to get that done. Kathy's mentioned before some of the capital improvements they've been working on, and we do hope for some sort of season to kick things off. And speaking of CMAC, Louis, if you just want to provide a primer about where we might get to use the CMAC first before concert season and commencement, go ahead.
Yeah, we have at least a preliminary plan. 2 options: to continue with a virtual commencement, or the possibility of a very, very different in-person. Obviously, very spaced out, and be limited and different, but in some ways we would be able to gather as a community. So stay tuned on that. We still have to engage the student population as well as the faculty population, but a work of a plan is there.
Thanks, Louis.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nye. Any other questions for Dr. Nye? I see that we've had 3 callers join us since we started our meeting, and I recognize at the top of the meeting is when we provide a public comment opportunity, but from a full transparency standpoint, certainly want to give any of the callers that have joined us since we started the opportunity. If you'd like to share your comments, we would welcome those and provide you up to 5 minutes for those individual comments. Any of our callers that have in fact joined us would like to comment?
Trustee Martin, you may have to repeat again the instructions for the dialing of the 6.
Sure, yeah. So if you're on mute, you can simply hit #6 to remove yourself from the mute phase, and that would give you the opportunity to speak or chat. So, and we also have a chat function there as well if you'd like to type in any of your questions. Thank you, Dr. Nye. *6. Okay, we'll continue to move on, and but I wanted to at least afford you that opportunity. We have a number of liaison committee reports. It is February, traditionally Vintners and Valentines. So why don't we start with Joan and the foundation and see if Santa or Joan, you have an update for us with regard to that wonderful annual event, and maybe any updates with regard to the foundation. We'll jumble it up a little bit here.
I don't have any comments. I don't know if Lewis does. I know we're going to have a committee meeting next week, Lewis, or is it the following week?
Yes.
Okay.
Our committee meetings, and I will tell this group that we are in for the last couple of months. We've really been back and forth of what to do with Vintners and Valentines, and we'll be talking to the foundation board about this in the next couple of weeks. But internally, we have felt that this event is too important to do virtually. So we are going to present a plan that we're going to move it with hope to have it outdoors later this year. We have already sort of vetted this with the wine community, and they have given us some guidance on which months would be better. So I would stay tuned on this. But once the foundation board is fully briefed and endorses our plan, there'll be more details. But my hope would be, if you all remember, that was the last real event we gathered together. So that was early March. So my hope would be that would be one of the cascade of first ones that we can gather together again.
Great. Okay. Thank you all for that update. Don, thanks for the association report. And we also had a nice update recently from the head of the association. Thanks for the written report. Anything you want to add to what, Don, you provided in writing?
No, I don't. Maybe Barb might have something.
I was just impressed with what, as Carol said, opportunity. He's done a great job, but I don't know how it's going to work out. Lots of thoughts about the bookstore. It's in good hands, however.
Agreed. Any questions of Barb or Don? Thank you both. Jeff, the ERM and audit, I'm not sure if they've met at all, if you have a report since we
No,
haven't met.
there's really nothing to report at this time.
And our student trustee, Kai, the floor is yours. Please enlighten us.
Yes, so Student Corporation hosted a retreat on the 20th of this month. It was virtual due to COVID concerns. And we now have a new VP of Marketing and VP of Clubs and Organizations. This semester, there will be a special emphasis on clubs and organizations. And it has been a challenge for some clubs with meeting face-to-face being integral to their success. So some of them have had to take a hiatus due to COVID, but that will hopefully improve this semester. We've also been redefining engagement, or continuing to. The spring calendar was created, and there's a bit of a method to its setup to create more content than events, which will allow students to consume this on their own time rather than having to make a certain time on a certain day. Friday, January 29th was the new student orientation with virtual breakout rooms with faculty, and that organization focused on students going over materials and processes of the school, while earlier today was Flick's Family Forum, which invited students' parents, spouses, and other guests to help provide info to the student's family. That allowed for the initial student orientation to focus solely on the students. And just as an important side note, Student Corp moved their official meetings from Wednesday at 1 to 2 to Friday at 1 to 2 due to a few scheduling conflicts with members from required classes. That's all.
Thank you, Kai. Dr. Nye, I know you had an opportunity, I think, maybe to attend the family connection today, and just curious how it went from your perspective.
Oh, it went very well. No one showed. And it's, in the springtime, it's a small group, and talking to the folks there, the folks in Student Affairs did a wonderful job. Ryan McCabe was there, Jenny Earl Campman was there, and Andrea Brown was there. And normally there's not too many students or families at the spring one. There are in the fall, but we were talking about it, and I think there might be some fatigue all the way around.
Questions of Kai? Thank you, Kai. Appreciate the update. Board development. Boy, Santa and Donna, you have been busy, and maybe give us a little slice as to what you've been up to and some of your activities.
Yep, I can go, Donna. I believe Dr. Nye and Steve had already mentioned this, but we got together. We were asked to put together an agenda item for the retreat. So as you saw, we hope to get I think Dr. Nye, you did schedule MCC, the president and the chair of the Board of Trustees for MCC. We're going to be focusing on what makes a good board successful. We are successful, but we wanted to hear from other boards to see what they do to just go up that next level of success. We also will be focusing on a policy in the next couple of months, which is the president's succession plan policy. So that is the first policy that this committee is going to be focusing on and writing. And once we have that draft together, we will send it off to everyone to review.
Marvelous, thank you.
Yep.
Donna, anything you might add? I know Donna's in and out and joining us here. So we'll move to Student Corps. Again, Santa or George, maybe an update from either one of you.
I wasn't able to attend the meeting.
Then next month.
Sorry,
George, go ahead.
Also, I was not at the meeting.
Okay, so we'll get an update next month. Rich or Donna, with regard to NYCCT, I'm not sure if there's an update or not. I see Donna's on mute, but Rich, anything from your perspective with regard to bylaws or any connections to NYCCT?
Nothing from me, thanks.
And Donna looks like she's trying to call in.
I actually, while we're on the subject of NYCCT, if you don't mind, I did attend the student enrollment roundtable session that they had last week, I believe it was. And one of the items that they brought up was this, it was called instant acceptance. Carol, can you talk about that? Does FLCC have an instant acceptance program where high school seniors are enrolled instantly?
Yes, we have had an instant admit program for quite a long time, and we schedule, in the past, we would schedule visits with the various school districts in our service area to administer the program. In the current pandemic environment, I would need to touch base with Matt to see if we are offering that program and in what type of venue, since we're not able to access the school districts currently.
Thank you.
Donna, I see you've joined us, and anything development-wise NYCCT that you want update us on?
I just want to let you know that there is an upcoming session that you should be getting an email about on advocacy for budget this year. The executive committee is going to be meeting with Dr. Duffy, who's the president of the presidents. She's chairing the Presidents Association, and Johanna Duncan Poitier, our vice chancellor at SUNY, and a number of the government relations people there. I believe that after that we will have, and so that will be to help us get a bit more information on the concerted effort of what the ask is going to be for community colleges this year from the state perspective. There will be an educational model coming out that you will get the email about, module that will tell us a little bit more about the federal perspective, and the government relations person for ACCT, the American Community College Trustees Association, will be a featured speaker. So if you're interested in knowing anything about that, just keep your eyes open for that module.
Terrific. Thank you, Donna. Any other committee reports? Final questions in this section of our meeting? Okay, seeing none, we are going to leave the public portion of our meeting right now and retire to an executive session to discuss matters regarding collective negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law, New York Public Officers Law, Article 7, Section 5, letter E. Please, a motion with your name and a second to enter executive.
This is Jeff. I'll make the motion to go into executive session.
Thanks, Jeff. Second?
This is Joan. I'll move that we second to go into executive session.
Great. Thank you, Joan. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, we'll see you on the executive session link. Thank you all.
Hey, Mike,
Hey
you are
there.
welcome to drop off, and I'll just sit here and wait for them to be done.
Okay. John asked me to follow up with George on the volume issue, and I was chatting with him through this, and he said that he's been using the space bar to mute himself and unmute. And I haven't really had anybody say anything about that before, so I don't know. But I'll email him tomorrow and see what's going on. And you know what operating system he's using, and et cetera, et cetera. As far as the other stuff, it looks like a bunch of different people have been having connectivity issues, so I don't think it's it's not platform specific. I don't know if it's
Right.
WebEx or what the situation is. If it's an internet
Could be
connectivity
weather.
thing.
Yep, could be weather as well. I mean, I don't know. And you know, be aware we're still in an open meeting here,
Sure.
but I will just say that my VPN went out when I let you know way back when in the meeting, and as did my network, but I was able to get in through the internet to my, board files. But
Okay.
that happened last month too. I just don't think we have a inordinate amount of people joining that, that would happen. It could be weather related. Here I don't have weather happening.
Yeah, and I just tried to take a quick look at down detector and see, and WebEx didn't show up immediately on the radar there, but I saw Frontier, and I thought I saw Spectrum, but I wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, like my internet's working, but my VPN went down, and then so did my, like I couldn't get into G Drive or anything.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I mean,
There's only so much we can do in this environment.
right. I mean, like Todd Sloan was saying that he was telling me on the back end that he's having to use video two different computers so he can do video and microphone. And I said, well, he should be able to just do it with one. And he said,
Yeah, he should.
well, I've got an old system and, I know how this
Yeah.
is done. So, I think it could be specific to people's,
Yep, there's
what
that
they're
part of it too.
using.
The hardware,
And
yeah, very much.
we've supplied iPads to the board, but
Right.
clearly if George is using the,
Yeah, I could tell he was
whatever,
using a PC if some, or
yeah,
not a non iPad or smartphone. So
yeah. And that's fine. I mean, if that's what they're comfortable with, but it does, there's only so much we can do, like you
I
said.
know. Yep. This is the world right now.
Right, yeah. But, certainly, I mean, who knows, about the time that Kai and Donna or Barb were both saying that they couldn't connect and they were getting a message that WebEx could not connect is the message they were getting. That's when my connection, my VPN and my network connection went down as well. So there could have been a blip.
It's possible. That's very possible.
Yeah. But,
Yeah, it's one of these things.
It is an imperfect situation right now. And yeah, I had sent Steve a message and said there's new callers on. You might go on and just ask for comments again. So
And I sent the unmute notification to them, so if they were listening, their phones should have said to unmute yourself, press *6.
and that's just by you hitting unmute on their mics.
Right, I can't actually unmute them anymore. I can only
Got it.
request they unmute.
That's a new WebEx. But when you hit
Yeah.
their mic, it said, okay. Well, I forgot about that.
That's all right.
Got it. Bonus.
It's totally fine.
All right. Well, how much snow?
Yeah, I don't even honestly know the total accumulation. I'm so busy with stuff and being able to work remotely from here. I know, well over, yeah, honestly, I can't even tell you. I would say definitely over 6 inches for sure, but I'm not solid on the total number because it kept coming last night and it didn't stop until probably 6 or 5 this morning. And so it was a slow but steady,
Yeah. Well, I will let you go. Thank you again for your
welcome.
help and
Absolutely.
support. And,
I'll be here next month.
yeah, and this is the first I've heard about the retreat. So,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
don't worry about that.
Okay.
As far as, unless somebody tells you, in the past, I think they just do it and it sounds like they're just going to figure it out themselves. I mean, unless
Yeah,
I'm
that's
pulled
what
into
they've
the
been
loop.
doing.
Yeah. So anyway, I will talk soon and thank you.
All right.
And I don't know, I
Absolutely.
think you can just drop off because it shows I'm the host.
Yeah, I noticed, well, there's a new option thing now too when I left the college, because I'm home now. If I go to, yeah, I see it, right? I'm hovering over the X and it says end or leave meeting. So I made sure I only left it. That's different. That's a new one. They keep
Yeah,
adding
it just keeps
changes every
changing.
update has something different.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of nuts.
I
And
can't keep up with this in addition to everything else.
if and that reminds me, I know we're still in a public meeting, but it's just you and I. I
Sure.
don't think, it doesn't matter what we've said on, but sorry if anybody is listening to this later, but, we're trying to support the board.
Yes,
But what
we
I was going
are.
to say is the fact that you say they're not updating the iPads could also be an issue. And
Yes.
I don't know if Barb's using her own or the college issue. But if you at some point send me good wording for telling them, hey,
How to,
reminder, this needs to be done.
right.
We've noticed they're not been updated, and then I'll just forward that along to them. If there's any, like, go here, do this, or if it's just a matter of,
Well, what I
shutting it down or whatever.
I did something slightly sneaky just to see, and I know this is being recorded right now, and I don't mind because it's full disclosure, but with Barb, I actually cleared her passcode and pushed through the update, and she left her iPad plugged in, so it updated it on its own.
I wondered, I was going to ask you if we could update their
I
iPads
can do that,
remotely.
but my thing is, if I clear the passcode, somebody's bound to notice to say, wait a minute, I used to have to type in something to get into this. And at this point, after working with them long enough, it's just another roadblock for them. So I don't mind if they don't use a passcode. The only ones who seem to use them beyond normal board of trustee stuff were the students, and I haven't even checked to see if Kai is. I don't think he is. The last
Okay.
I looked, the check-in was a month ago, so he's only using it as written. So
Yeah, which is what he's supposed to do. He's only supposed to use it for
Right.
board meetings, but so good on him.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's the other possibility is that I guess the one thing if we remove passcodes and they lose them, then, that could be it. And, well, I don't
Well, the
know that it
passcodes,
is.
we set them to be whatever they wanted them when I did the one-on-ones initially, giving them the new ones. So, but
Oh,
the passwords are that those don't change because getting to the board site.
that's true. They'd still have to have their
Right.
password. Yeah.
And then the Wi-Fi stuff, I maintain that as well, which that's going to change. I don't know when that's going to change this year. Hopefully not this year, but it might. There's a new thing for that, and I have to talk with Rob Finger a little bit more. But I've got a stack of projects that are, or well, not even projects, just tasks. They're not necessarily projects, but Board of Trustees is an ongoing thing that I'm well aware
Well,
of.
before my final day, which God knows when that is,
I
but
was wondering that
let's
earlier.
right. But maybe sometime in February, because I truly was not planning to work much longer than that.
I didn't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, no, March board, if I prepare for the March board meeting, that'd be about it for me.
Okay.
But you and Rick and I should maybe have a WebEx and
Mhm.
just go over wrapping up some things
Okay.
with the
I'll write
board,
that down.
because yeah, and I mean, I'll have to remember too, but we might want to just have a wrap up with what I know, and what I know is coming down the pike. Like, I believe we're going to have, I think there's some board members whose terms expire this year, so they
Okay.
have to get
That's
iPads
another
back
thing.
from
Yeah.
them, and but
Okay.
that won't be determined until when, like, it'll be my replacement that deals with that, but they won't
Gotcha.
know certain things. And
Yep.
the other thing that we should discuss is just the access to the board team site. And
Okay.
I haven't been involved, and again, this is a public meeting, so if somebody's listening, sorry, but I haven't been involved at all in the hiring of my replacement, and I haven't been informed that I'm going to train
Right.
them in any way.
Yeah,
My guess is
that's
I
the
won't.
thing about this place. I know from experience.
Right. My guess is I won't. So,
Yeah.
I don't know
Interesting.
what the plan is, but
Okay.
so if at the very least, we should probably go over enough,
Yeah.
who's going to upload in the interim, or who's going to train that person, as well
Okay.
as just some other things. Most of that you guys already know, but just kind of a checklist, because I have no one to pass that along to, but it'll be important stuff. And um, I believe, um, Rick is probably more involved with my replacement than I am.
Yeah, I certainly don't know anything about it.
Yeah, but there's a committee, and I think he was on at least the initial screening. And one of the things that I had stressed was that whoever they hire should have board experience and should also have technical skills. So hopefully they will get a good person. But anyway, it'd be good to just review to make sure that there's good transition and
Well, yeah,
technically.
I think for Rick and I to kind of look at it and say, okay, what have we learned over this last year? What's the weaknesses? I've got a couple of ideas from watching this and participating, so I've got some
Yeah,
notes.
and I suspect it'll change.
Yeah.
You know, the very fact that Dr. Nye has told the cabinet to all be on video, you know, that's news to me. It's a board meeting. It's not a
Yeah.
board and cabinet meeting, but you know, not my call. But
Right.
I yeah, I mean, you know, we've all been kind of thrown into this COVID environment and done the best we could. And I'm sure things will change, and I'm fine with that. You know, improvement is always a good thing. I've done the best I could, but
Yeah, you certainly
yeah,
didn't have an easy task. I feel for you on that one, so I'll not say any more since this technically can be reviewed by whomever.
right. Yeah, but let's plan on that to wrap up
Sure.
so that, you know, there's good transition, and hopefully we can do it in an hour or less. And then, you know, you
Oh, I think
guys,
so. Yeah.
so, because, you know, there's nobody else. It's not like I interact with anybody else on this stuff. You two
Right.
are probably it. And
Yeah, and that's a weak point as far as it only being myself and Rick. But that's
well, and
another
also
thing
me. I
altogether.
mean, my God, you know, if I was
Yeah,
incapacitated,
touche.
I mean, they would have no clue what to do. That's why I say hopefully they'll hire somebody with experience who, if you've done board meetings, you know, if you're familiar with board work, you can walk into any system. You just got to figure out, you know, what that
What's
organization
different?
does.
And
Yeah, I mean, this is done way different than I've done it in other jobs, but it's what, you know, it's what they want and what
that's the
you know,
nature of
so
the
I
beast.
accommodated and understood, more or less, because I've, you know, done it for years. But anyway, if anybody else listens to this in the future, there you go, inside track.
Yes.
And Mike, take care and thank you, and we'll talk soon.
All right, Janet.
And if you need help with George interacting with that one, let me know. And like I say, if you know, and maybe that's something, this instructions for board updating their iPads, maybe
Oh,
that's something we
yeah,
can
I've
talk
got a
about
couple.
when we meet, and you know how the best way is to do that as well. If you want to, you know, you and Rick and I can talk about that and how we want to accomplish that in the future.
Yeah, the setup I
Okay.
use. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right.
Well, I'll talk to
Well,
you soon.
thanks.
Sooner than
Okay.
later.
Take care.
All
All
right.
right.
Good night.
Bye bye.
Jana, how you been?
Good. How are you?
Good. You got any
Sounds like-
sunshine to send our way?
Oh yeah, we've been having, I hate to say it, but we've been having no winter at all, which isn't a good thing, but it's kind of nice. It was 60 in Denver yesterday, 50 something at our house. But you know, like where Steve's son and daughter-in-law live in Colorado, they're getting slammed with snow, but we're just in kind of a, you know, just in a place where we're not getting it this year, which is nice, but doesn't bode well for wildfire season, which can't be much worse than it was last year, I would hope. So yeah, doing well, doing well. You guys were quick
Jennifer,
today.
yes, Jennifer, your notes, 7:39 PM. We left executive session. Santa moved it, Donna seconded it. And we have a quorum right now, so please, a motion and a second to end the public meeting of February 3rd. Please.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jeff, a second. Thank you,
Barb,
Barb. All in favor? Aye.
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 Happy February. Stay warm, everyone. Stay well. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Take care,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye, everyone.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.